I'm wondering, has there ever been an episode of Pokemon that was banned because it was just too adorable? Ladies and gentlemen, I think we found the episode that is banned for being too adorable. Hello everyone, I'm Dustin Benzel, and welcome to another Pokemon XY anime discussion. Today we're going to talk about Noibat. The Noibat episode that was very recently released, like within the past 6 hours. Maybe, approximately, somewhere around there. So yeah, I have some notes here about the episode and a recap, and I would like to discuss it. There were some good moments, some funny moments. This episode had its like major ups, I guess you could say, but it was kind of a neutral, calm episode as well. So, I mean, I can't say for sure if it was like really good. So I can't say if this was the best episode ever, but it was still a very nice episode. Okay, so the recap that I have of the things that I want to note, and maybe I'll talk about them in a little bit detail than just what I have written down. Those will probably have pictures along with them, assuming the scene can have pictures, you know, like, I mean, I don't think I can get a picture of wind, you know, so, anyway, let's jump right into this. The beginning of the episode, the intro, started with Bonnie wanting to brush Breakson's body, and I think that's interesting because of just the dynamic of Bonnie doing this. She's done this before, and it's still nice to see that Bonnie is still being a participant in the other group's Pokemon or whatever. So basically everyone, I don't know if they're like eating or training or exercising or whatever the case is, but after we see the group's Pokemon, we see that, oh hey, I think there's a Pokemon missing, and it's Hawlucha. So then we pan over to Hawlucha training, you know, using Karate Chop on like a tree stump, or I think it was a tree stump, and then all of a sudden there was this flashing, glowing light, and then Hawlucha stopped and looked, and that's when it found Noibat's egg, and then we got the introduction. Thing is, about the opening, no changes, but it was funny. KG Prestige in his Troll Chick episode, and, well, quite frankly, right now I'm just going to say I'm probably not going to make a video dedicated to the Torchic being plastered all over the face. I think I've already discussed Torchic in another video, and I would prefer to wait until we get some more concrete evidence of its capture or its relation to the main anime before I make a video on it. So for right now, the Torchic discussion is going to have to wait. But what they said in that particular video, which is funny and relating to the opening, is that well, it was either KG, I think it was more like Tyrone the God 3 that actually said this, but I think Tyrone said that what he would like to see, or what he expected in the opening, was like Grovyle to be on top of Shota in the opening, and then Shota falls to the ground, and that was a very hilarious suggestion. It was, that video, I have to admit, was pretty funny. So the Troll Chick video or whatever. So the opening hasn't changed for Shota's Grovyle or whatever, so I don't know when it's going to be updated next. They're probably going to wait until Eevee's capture before they even do anything of that nature. So anyway, that's the opening. Nothing more to discuss about that. So then the episode begins. You know, Hawlucha brings the egg to Ash. Ash looks at it, and Ash wonders where Hawlucha got it. They found it, and then I think Ash was looking around, and then it started glowing, and then Ash started freaking out because the egg was about to hatch or whatever. And the funny thing about this is that Ash was freaking out. Bonnie, on the other hand, was so excited. She was like doing a happy dance. She was like, it's gonna hatch, or whatever the case is. And it's just so awesome that Bonnie is like that. Bonnie is just, I swear, she's like her own entity. She's like completely separate. I would probably be willing to watch a few episodes just dedicated to Bonnie. Just Bonnie. You know, Bonnie's interactions with the Pokemon and her excitement over things, you know. It was just so nice to see Bonnie jumping excitedly because the Pokemon egg is going to hatch, and here's Ash freaking out like he's probably going to drop the egg and break it or whatever. It's just really awesome to see something like that, because it's funny and it's awesome, and Bonnie's just amazing doing that, you know. If I could just have that clip playing right now, you could just see it like right around here, but unfortunately, you're gonna have to settle for a picture. So anyway, so then the group starts holding the egg or whatever, trying to get it warm or whatever, and then Fletchender comes in with its flame body. I'm kind of split on Fletchender's ability being flame body as opposed to like Gale Wings, but then I realized that Fletchender really, or even Talonflame, probably won't benefit from Gale Wings. Yeah, I say that, and then Talonflame is going to end up learning Brave Bird, I bet. If, well, hold on, let me make sure that Talonflame can actually learn Brave Bird. Yeah. Yeah, I can learn Brave Bird, so yeah, just imagine, oh, right now, Fletchender doesn't benefit from Gale Wings, and then it evolves into Talonflame and learns Brave Bird. Well, that would have been unique to have Gale Wings, but I guess, you know, I don't know if I don't know if it was confirmed of any of Ash's Fire-type Pokemon to have known Flame Body. Well, actually, I don't think any of them can, actually, because most of Ash's Fire-type has been predominantly, starters, and as far as I'm aware, none of the starters can learn have flame bodies. So yeah, none of Ash's Pokemon has ever been able to have flame body. So it's nice to see that it has flame body. Plus, it brings some interesting moments in the future, like when Fletchender uses Steel Wing or whatever. Fletchender can burn the opponent, and that might be an interesting thing that the writers can use. I mean, Gale Wings is cool. That's probably why, I almost said Smoggenbird. Sorry. It's probably why Talonflame is so good in the competitive scene, is because of Gale Wings. But I don't know if it would have worked for Ash. I mean, being able to use Brave Bird before anything would be very interesting to see or whatever. We probably would have seen something of that in the gym battle with Valerie. So I think Flame Body actually makes a little bit more sense. Like I said, I'm not too happy about it, but it makes sense, and I think Ash's Fletchender / Talonflame would be able to benefit it more. Anyway, Fletchender uses Flame Body to warm up the egg. It starts cracking and hatching, and then Noibat hatches. One thing I'm disappointed is that the summary was misleading. Noibat didn't hatch and just instantly hug Ash thinking it was its father or whatever. That's not what happened. Instead, what happened was Noibat kind of, well, I guess you could say it imprinted on Ash, kind of like how Togepi imprinted on Misty or whatever, but just not in the same way, because Noibat wasn't as excitedly happy with Ash as, say, Togepi was with Misty. I guess maybe because Togepi was more of a baby Pokemon as opposed to Noibat, which is just your possibly every other day Pokemon that just happened to hatch from an egg. So, but the thing is, the group introduced themselves to Noibat, then Noibat started freaking out. Based on what happened, I'm assuming Noibat was hungry, but the interesting thing is, Ash settled Noibat by rubbing its ears. I don't know what was said there. The Japanese dialogue was not, like I said, I don't speak Japanese, so I don't know what was being said there, but I assume that Noibat's ears were being rubbed, and it was like something relating to the Noibat species, where they could be calmed down by that weight, and I think that was noted because Serena said Ash's name during that moment, and I think, but I could be completely wrong, I think she said, wow, Ash, how did you know to do that? And then Ash said something, I think, or whatever. But I'm not entirely sure on that, so don't quote me or anything. So anyway, so Noibat was hungry as it appears, so they were trying to find food, and we got some interesting moments of Noibat using its sonic, well, I don't want to say supersonic, but its ability to use sonic waves, I guess, to determine the right food. I guess we can call it that, because bats are known for their uh, what is it? Well, I don't want to say supersonic, sonic echolocation. Yeah, there we go. So bats are known for their echolocation because they really can't see very well or whatever. So they use their echolocation ability, and I think that's what it was. It was using the sonic waves for echolocation, and so it could find the right fruit. And what the thing was, there wasn't any right fruit at the right moment. So what happened was they kept going. Then finally, Bonnie was holding the two right fruit for Noibat because Noibat used its ability to detect the fruit, and it was sweet. Then Chespin ate a very sour, bitter uh, apple berry thing. I don't know what you want to call it. I don't know if it was just sour or it was possibly bitter. I think I know apples can get pretty bitter or sour if they're not properly ripe or something, so that might have been the case. Not really sure, but it's interesting that Noibat likes sweet foods and stuff. So then afterwards, it's kind of similar to, I would say, Swaddle in some instance, in the sense that when Swaddle showed up, they were trying to bond with it, and then all of a sudden Swaddle would do its own thing, and then Ash, uh, Berg, and Iris would follow Swaddle to wherever it was going while Silent was making food. It's kind of like this in a sense that Noibat didn't exactly interact with the group or whatever. It just right after eating, it just basically started to try to fly, and that's when it failed attempts or whatever. It's like for the most part, Noibat was fine with the group, but what's interesting is that Noibat really didn't interact too much with the group. It was like trying to do its own thing as a hatched Pokemon, I guess. So first off, Fletchender tries to teach not Halucha. Fletchender tries to teach Noibat how to fly. Did I say that right? Fletchender, Noibat. Okay. Fletchender flaps its wings. Noibat tries to do that. Ash ends up catching Noibat in the palm of its hands, and then Halucha tries to teach it to glide because I think gliding is easier than flying. I think I mentioned this in another video. And so then Noibat didn't do so well during that particular moment. So then it changed to they were like figuring out how what can help Noibat learn to fly better. And that's when Halucha came up with the great idea of finding something windy, and it was like a plains area with some mounds, some hilly mounds or whatever, and then it could just like jump, and it could use the fly. It could fly by using the wind, and then it was doing fairly well. Then Team Rocket came in and, of course, basically stole Noibat and Halucha. And the reason for doing this is because they know Noibat can evolve into Noivern. So what they wanted to do is get Noibat to evolve into Noivern so they can have a very powerful Pokemon. It was mentioned before, and it's interesting that I didn't think of this until I read a comment in the forums, but this kind of goes back to Ash's Gumi. When Team Rocket got Gumi, James was looking through his computer hologram thing, and that's when he saw that Gumi could fully evolve into Goodra, and they were going to evolve, and the thing is, Gumi actually fully evolved into Goodra. So maybe the Noivern is foreshadowing that Noibat is definitely going to evolve into Noivern, and I'm perfectly fine. I don't know how much I can handle of the adorableness of Noibat, but anyway, so that's what happened. They also had these sonic blocking ears thing that blocked Noibat from using its supersonic attack or whatever. Um, So then Noibat started flying away. That's when Halucha tried to do the same thing. I don't know if it was trying to get away that way, or it was just trying to confuse Team Rocket and catch them off guard or whatever. But basically, after that, Halucha actually used its talon, one of its talons, to cut off the rope and then basically escape with Noibat or whatever. And so then Jessie sends out her Pumpkaboo, James Inkay, and so then Halucha protects Noibat. Noibat's on Halucha's back. One of the most interesting things is, I don't know if I'll ever be able to get a shot of this because it's kind of like a one frame kind of deal, and I don't think I would have to do some very hinky things just to try to get that particular frame, but I'll try and see if I can get it. But there's one shot that's amazing, and it's when Noibat is on Halucha's back. Halucha's wings are spread out, and Noibat's wings are kind of spread out, and it's kind of like Noibat kind of creates the Batman symbol on Halucha's back, and I think that's a nice touch because it's like a flying Pokemon within a flying Pokemon almost. You know, it's we have the bird Halucha, but then we have the bat symbol of Noibat because it has bat properties involved, and it's just like right there. It's kind of like Noibat in that particular image is just a decal for Halucha, basically, is what I'm trying to get at here. So then Halucha escapes into a cave. The interesting thing is, Noibat is an interesting Pokemon here. I'll probably save it for the end of the thing, but you'll notice later on after this that shows Noibat is pretty interesting, and we'll get to why that's interesting. So then Pumpkaboo and Inkay trap Halucha and Noibat in a cave. Jessie, James show up with Meowth. They go in the cave. And to be honest, at first I was a little confused as to why Jessie and James just went into the caves by themselves with Meowth, but then I realized, oh, of course, Pumpkaboo as well as Inkay, they would be vulnerable to Noibat Supersonic, so that's why they went ahead into the cave, because of Noibat Supersonic, because apparently they've been watching the whole time and knows that Noibat has a really evil supersonic attack. So the interesting thing about this scene is that Jessie or James or both of them was taunting Halucha or whatever, and Halucha was about to attack, but Noibat stopped Halucha and used its ability to use its supersonic waves or echolocation basically to locate Team Rocket, and then Halucha would go and attack one of them at a time, which kind of parallels back to what I was thinking of Batman, actually. This is actually seems very similar to Batman, because I've been playing Arkham Asylum, if you've seen my gaming playlist, where, there are like moments where, when you're playing Arkham Asylum, where Batman would come in and it would just be slow motion, or like when you finally defeat an opponent, it would be in like slow motion throughout the whole entire thing, and it's just interesting. The funniest aspect, though, is that the anime creators of this episode, the developer, whoever produced the episode in the anime department and the sound, they actually purposely did this in slow motion. So we have Jessie going when Halucha smacks Halucha smacks Jessie in the head, knocking those sonic blocking ears off of Jessie's head, and then it does this for the other Pokemon, and then Noibat just releases the most awful supersonic, and Jessie and James' ears are bleeding and eyes are bleeding basically. Meowth's eyeballs are about to explode basically. So then they run out of the cave. But the funniest part of the whole entire episode, in my opinion, was Pumpkaboo and Inkay are watching the cave entrance. They're getting ready for Halucha and Noibat to escape, so they're like So I think it was Noibat and Jesse and James were supposed to scare off Halucha, and then Inkay and Pumpkaboo were supposed to stop them. So that might have been another reason why they were left at the cave. But here comes Team Rocket running out of the cave, and then Pumpkaboo and Inkay launch their attacks. And then afterwards, they're like, "We did it! We did it!" Pumpkaboo and Inkay were celebrating. And then Jesse and James are like, "What did you do that? We're not Halucha and Noibat." And then Pumpkaboo and Inkay were really freaking out because they realized they attacked Team Rocket instead of their targets, and they were like apologizing. So I think that was the most hilarious thing of the whole entire episode, because oh man, just seeing that happen just reminds me of all the funny moments that Team Rocket has had. Like in Johto, it kind of reminds me of when all the group was like separating and they all got confused, and then all of a sudden Misty Psyduck was with Team Rocket, and then everyone Team Rocket were looking at Psyduck all confused, like, what's going on? And Misty yelling at Psyduck, "You don't belong over there, you belong over here." You know, it kind of reminds me of that a little bit. You know, just there are moments where Team Rocket are funny, like within just this series. You know, when Jesse kicked Clement's ninja distraction or whatever, and it ended up blowing up in their faces like Clement's inventions usually do for the main characters. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. And like previously in the last week, when Jesse was fantasizing about marrying Stephen Stone. So I think that was really funny. So then Noibat is, of course, saved. Ash sends out Frogadier and uses Frogadier to knock out basically Inkay and Pumpkaboo. Then Pikachu blasts off Team Rocket with the Thunderbolt. Noibat is fine. Then it transitions to Noibat eating more food, and then Ash asking Noibat if it wants to travel with him and whatever, because they developed a bond or whatever, and I guess Ash wanted to keep Noibat. I'm not really sure what was being said there, but then Noibat agreeing, and then that's when we get Noibat hugging Ash. But, you know, I am a little disappointed in that, because even though it was kind of adorable, what the thing was, I was so hoping was that when Noibat was hatched, what I wanted so badly, based on the summaries, was Noibat to look at Ash and be so excited that it just rushes at Ash, and just like pretty much if Ash was standing and Noibat weighed as much as Gligar, it would knock him down on his butt basically. And I was kind of hoping for that adorable scene, you know, but we didn't quite get that, so that's why I'm a little disappointed. But it was really nice to see Noibat hugging Ash, and then Ash getting Noibat in the Pokeball, and then posing, and then everything of that nature. And so that was pretty much the episode. Just some stray observations within the episode that didn't exactly fit the recap, though. I'm a little disappointed that only Supersonic was revealed for Noibat, because if this is going to be like Gligar, you know, at the very least, Scraggy actually revealed 2 of its attacks before it later learned High Jump Kick, and then later on learned Focus Blast. But the thing is here, Supersonic really isn't going to do very much. So for me, I'm personally hoping for Air Cutter and Leech Life. I know I would have preferred Air Slash over Air Cutter possibly, but I'm kind of thinking if Noivern is going to happen, then let's save all the really powerful attacks. I don't know if it can learn Hurricane or whatever the case is, but we'll save that for Noivern, and basically we'll have Noibat with Air Cutter, Leech Life, Supersonic, and then maybe later on it can learn Hyper Voice, maybe even replacing Supersonic, and then maybe Noibat can learn like Dragon Breath or Draco Meteor or even Outrage in the future or something of that nature. And then Noivern can replace Hyper Voice with Boom Burst or something of that nature. It all depends, but basically right now, as long as Leech Life and Air Cutter are within the cards of Noibat, hopefully that'll be the case. I have to say, Noibat has the most adorable voice that I have ever heard. I mean, Swaddle, I will admit, was adorable when it came out, but I think Noibat, just the way that it is just so adorable and everything of that nature. And I know the dub are going to ruin it, because the way that I see Noibat, Noibat could keep its voice, because it just makes a kick, kick, kick kind of sound, and so it's not like saying on bat, and it's like, I don't think the kids are going to be like, on bat, but its name is Noibat, so why isn't it saying Noibat? Because we do have Pokemon that just make noises within the actual anime that don't actually relate to their voices, like Charizard. Ash's Charizard is just a growly dragon voice, basically, you know. So it's kind of unfortunate that that Noibat's voice is going to change. It's just so adorable and cute that they really can't do it, because I know what the dub is going to do. I just know it. I'm going to go and look back, and I was thinking of adding an audio clip just to demonstrate what Noibat's dub voice sounds like, since we've already encountered it. But, you know, if you really want to look it up, you could look it up yourself. Right now, we'll just stay away from that audio clip, but it basically, I'm going to go to that episode and see what Noibat sounded, and I'm just going to be so disappointed, because I feel like Ash's Noibat voice should just stay the way it is. I mean, I suppose they could get an English voice actor or whatever to just do the same thing. Kick, kick, kick! But I don't know if it's going to be as adorable. I don't know who actually voiced Noibat, because it's not in the VA list for the Sky Relay episodes, and I don't think it was mentioned in this episode. So clearly it was probably either voiced by, like, Rika Matsumoto, or whoever voices Serena, or Pikachu even, Aiku Otani, or something of that nature, even Megumi Hashibara, or even Bonnie's voice actress. They probably voiced Noibat, so that's probably why Noibat wasn't listed. So yeah, it's just the most adorable voice. It's a kick sound, so I'm really hoping that they keep it. I mean, the thing that's they kept Ash's Gligar's Japanese voice, because, well, Gligar. But basically, when it evolved into Gliscor, they actually changed it. So I really would prefer not. I mean, they can change Noivern's voice. I don't remember what Alexa's Noivern sounded like, but they can change Noivern if they want. Just keep Noibat alone, please, dub. Please. Please don't take away Noibat's adorableness by having Billy Beach, or whatever his real name is, voicing Noibat. Noibat! No, that's not adorable, okay? Speaking of which, based on this episode, I almost have to say that Noibat and Fletchinder seem like they're girls, almost, speaking of which. I mean, in this particular episode, it was like, I know Fletchling and Fletchinder were voiced by female voice actresses, and I know that doesn't mean anything, but Fletchinder seemed kind of very feminine. Well, sounded very feminine in this episode. It seemed like it was like, it was abnormal for Fletchinder to sound like it is. I don't know if when I think of female voice actresses in Japan, when they have the Pokemon and they're voicing a male character, they kind of have this. They try to have this male aspect of it. So I thought that's what we saw in Fletchinder, is we saw these moments where the voice actress would, like, try to make it sound more masculine and attacking or whatever, but not in this particular episode. In this particular episode, Fletchinder was very feminine. And they also, the reason why I think Noibat is possible feminine is just because it kind of seems like it. I mean, it would be okay if it was male or whatever. I think even maybe Alexa's Noivern might be female, but I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. Anyway, moving on, the one thing that I really liked about this was Hawlucha and Noibat's dynamic. I think I've said a few times before, I do believe Ash's Hawlucha has the most personality out of all of Ash's Pokemon in the XY series. I don't know. I think Pikachu might have technically more of a personality than Hawlucha, but this episode really demonstrated that for me, because Frogadier was in the episode, and Frogadier was just doing the same usual things. You know, Frogadier did show some or quite a bit of personality in the battle against Scotty with the rivalry. Frogadier was like doing that rival smile, like, I respect you, let's do this again, I'm having fun or whatever. So Frogadier does have a personality, but you know, the more that Halucha's gotten focused, the more I realized that out of all of Ash's XY Pokemon currently, it's had the most personality. Even Gudra, the lovable Pokemon that Ash released, I don't think quite compares to Halucha, because Halucha is just so detailed, so in-depth. You know, it has all these facets for its personality. It's prideful. It gets really happy when it wins. It protects the other Pokemon. It has its own battling style where it takes the Pokemon head on, you know. It can have endearing moments, like when it hugged Ash after beating Valerie Spritzy or whatever, and you know, and then as I've already said, Halucha likes to show off, you know, and then in this episode, it really was the protector of Noibat. It was like there for Noibat, and it was there to help Noibat through. I'm guessing because maybe Noibat has some sort of possible paternal feelings towards Noibat, and you know, maybe that's probably it, but it just adds more depth to Halucha's personality because of the dynamic with Noibat. And then we have Fletchender. Fletchender showed some personality within this episode. It got happy when it introduced when it introduced itself to Noibat, and there were some other moments, I'm sure, but even then, Fletchender is probably the one with the least amount of personality on Ash's team, unfortunately. I mean, I feel like Noibat has more of a personality than Fletchender at this point, and Noibat only showed up in one episode. But I guess that's the bird syndrome. Bird Pokemon usually don't have very much personality. I mean, I remember when Ash's Swellow showed some personality in the episode before it battled against Winona's Swellow. There was that haunted house ride, and all the other Pokemon were excited, but then when it showed Swellow was like nervous and scared or whatever, and it was like, I don't want to be here right now. So yeah, and then P-Dub showed some personality. I don't think Tranquil did show some personality in the Arkin episode, but I don't think Unfezin really showed anything. So, and then Starly didn't really show anything too much. Staravia showed a little bit more. Staraptor may have showed some personality in some aspects, but you know, I guess bird Pokemon are kind of built that way. They just don't have a lot of personality, or they can't have a lot of personality. So yeah. So that's it. Let's see, what else was I going to say? As I mentioned before, in regards to Noibat using its sonic ability, its echolocation ability to find Team Rocket, if that's what we want to call it, I think what's interesting is that Noibat actually seems to be kind of intelligent almost. Noibat found the cave and thought that it'd be a great place to hide from Team Rocket. It was Noibat that actually came up with the idea to echolocate Team Rocket. So despite Noibat being a baby Pokemon, it seems very intelligent for a baby Pokemon, you know? I wouldn't say it's Ash's most intelligent Pokemon, but it's still a pretty intelligent, pretty small critter, and its supersonic is very powerful. So this is a very weird Noibat. I don't know what its development is going to be like in the future, but hopefully it'll just start getting stronger and develop more and stuff, and maybe we'll see more of Noibat's personality in the following episode. Speaking of which, we mostly just got Pikachu cosplay preview in the preview, so there's really not I can just say about the relay, except apparently all the Starly line is going to be in the episode. Starly, Staravia, and Staraptor are going to be in the episode. All of them, so I guess that'll be interesting. So I guess the next episode is where Noibat actually learns to master flying, and then maybe they'll just super speed Noibat's development so it could be pretty strong. Maybe after the movie there will be an episode dedicated to Noibat where it'll learn some moves, or it'll show off some moves if it doesn't use any in the Sky Relay episode. So then hopefully there'll be some battles coming up for Noibat, and then we'll get to high gear, and then, whatever will happen. So I think that pretty much covers everything that I have to say about this particular episode. Yeah, like I said in the beginning of this episode, this episode should just be banned because it's too adorable. It's just adorable overload, cuteness overload. It's like, I don't know if I can handle Noibat's cuteness and adorableness for too long. So hopefully it'll like settle down. Maybe it'll just be oh no, I don't think there's any way it's going to settle down until it evolves into Noivern. But hopefully they won't try to make it too adorable in the episodes, because if they make it too adorable, I'm pretty sure they're not going to evolve it. Granted, they have evolved very adorable Pokemon in the past, Gumi, Swaddle, so it might still evolve despite that. But I don't want them to scrap the idea of Noibat evolving in a Noivern just because it's just so adorable that they want the kids to just have Noibat. Otherwise, you better give me Aegislash. I know Phantup and all that, but at this particular point, unless Ash outright caught Trevenant, it's probably not going to happen anyway. So if Noibat doesn't evolve, Aegislash. I mean, sure, Florges, flowered Florges would be great, but Aegislash, at least make it up to me that Noibat isn't going to evolve by giving Ash an Aegislash if you want that cute, adorable thing to stay forever. So I'm hoping it evolves, and then Ash's next Pokemon could remain unevolved, like Phantup or whatever it is. I don't know what it is. Or maybe this is the first generation that all of Ash's Pokemon will fully evolve. As for development, I just think Noibat's going to get some more development for it. As for any other Pokemon, I'm not really sure. I don't know. I think at this particular point, the other Pokemon are just going to develop alongside Noibat. I don't know if there's going to be any shifting. I mean, Hawlucha has gotten a lot of focus lately, so maybe it can step away from the spotlight a little bit and give some to like Frogadier or even Fletchinder, but I think right now they're just going to focus on Noibat, and then maybe after a little bit more focus on Noibat, I think they're probably going to shift towards Frogadier, and I think that's around the time that it will evolve, and then possibly after Olympia, but before Wolfric, that's when we'll get Talonflame sometime after Olympia or whatever, and then maybe after Wolfric, around the league, maybe then we'll get Noivern or whatever. But like I said, this all is pretty much dependent on Ash's last Pokemon entirely. But hopefully they'll still focus on Noibat. Hopefully we'll get Greninja really soon, within the next few months or something of that nature. Like August, or August, September, even October. Hopefully we'll get Greninja then. Talonflame could happen early next year. That's fine with me, as long as it does happen. So I think this pretty much covers this episode. Great episode for what it was. So adorable, too adorable for words. So yeah. So what did you think of this particular episode? Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? What do you think is going to happen in Noibat in the future? Is it going to be primarily focused on in the next couple of episodes, outside of possibly gym-related episodes, or what do you think is going to happen? So anyway, thank you for watching. I'm Dustin Benzel, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.